It is time to play our favorite game, How Hot Is That Seat? Graz, the Jets have already been eliminated from playoff contention. How hot is Robert Saleh's seat?
I think this is a hotter seat than people are giving it credit for. If the Jets continue to lose and they continue to look bad, I do think they have a decision to make at the end of the year. Woody Johnson was not running the team when Robert Saleh got hired, and he could be getting a little bit of an itchy trigger finger. Look, they have not put forth a representative effort. And, I know the quarterback got hurt, right? But I'm watching Kevin Stefanski win games with his fourth quarterback of the year.
Right.
I'm watching Zach Taylor win with Jake Browning. We just saw a 3-game winning streak from Tommy DeVito. It can be done. Mm-hmm. And this does not look like, this does not look like a team that has
30-0 didn't give you the warm-up buzz.
But let me circle back with what is actually a serious question.
Yes,
because
please.
You said Woody Johnson wasn't the one making the decisions when Robert Saleh got hired.
Look,
is he the one making them now? That's my question.
Ultimately, yes.
Is this ultimately going to be up to Aaron Rodgers? That, I think, is what a lot of fans want to know.
Ideally, no, right? Because, Aaron Rodgers is
very few things that happen are ideal with the Jets.
So you hope not. But, look, it's not, you can get to a point where you can say to Aaron, look, man, let's look at the results. Let's look at, again, this is all hypothetical. We get to the end of the year, we don't know what Woody Johnson will do. But if he is in the mind of making a coaching change, I don't think that it's a matter of clearing it with Aaron Rodgers. I think it's a matter of selling Aaron Rodgers on the idea that.
I just want to show you Aaron Rodgers on the sideline from this past weekend.
He didn't look like a guy that was all in on the coach.
Oh, the head shake. Yeah, as a dad, I know that shake very well. This right, again, I don't know if it's the call, the play. One time, I don't know if he even had, he's going to go to prayer in a second.
Great.
This is it.
That's it.
He went to prayer. He just went straight to it. Just take 30. Give me 30 seconds. I got a quick one. It's a quick one. Me and you, let's get this thing squared away. That's, there's a lot of pain in that soul.
There's a technical point to be made here about coaching, right? You get to a point, and I think Robert Saleh is at this point where the contract is such that you have to make a decision. Do we extend him, right? Or do we move on from him? And I think it's not just a matter of keeping him. If he only has 1 year left on his contract, then the decision goes deeper than that.
Yeah, they normally don't let coaches coach in their final year of their contract. Normally you extend it to give them some stability. I'm not sure that Robert Saleh, I think, honestly, I disagree slightly. This team has fought through 2 really rough seasons. It's hard to say that they've given up.
Right.
And that's normally how we measure teams, you've lost the locker room. Now, if there are schematic issues that they have there, we can point to that. But also, part of the problem with this team is about roster construction. As good as Joe Douglas has done with some of his draft picks, they have an offensive line that wouldn't have been able to protect Aaron Rodgers even if he were healthy.
Once again, the Cleveland Browns have lost their 2 starting offensive tackles, and their top backup offensive tackle played Sunday without their center. You can win in spite of offensive line troubles. No offense.
They also have
Bill
Callahan, who's probably the best.
No, but they lost their whole offensive line. They lost Nick Chubb. They lost their first, second, and third quarterbacks, and they're going to make the playoffs. And the Jets have scored 1 or 0 touchdowns in 12 of their 14 games this season. That's your initial point.
That's my point.
So you can say they're fighting, but they're not competing. There's a big difference between those 2 things.
Be careful over there.
He's a little emotional.
Yeah, this dude's about to have a meltdown, dog.
You put Greeny together with an espresso machine, and you start talking.
I don't know if you know, they got one in there now in the green room.
Word has reached me. Let's talk about the Falcons and Arthur Smith. We just got word that they're going back to Taylor Heineke. Is that my understanding? How hot is his seat?
Well, I think it's getting pretty hot. Look, I don't think you can bet on the job security of any coach in the NFC South right now. None of them are over 500. Obviously, the rules say someone will win the division. But other than that one, I think anybody could be in trouble. They lost to the Carolina Panthers.
Yeah.
That is only the second time a team has done that this year.
They only scored 7 points. And Arthur Smith is there because we believe in his offensive acumen, and they have a bunch of great offensive weapons. And their issue is at quarterback. You know how you could have solved that? You could have solved that with going after Lamar Jackson this offseason.
Not only did they not do that,
going after Justin Fields, because I think that at one point the Bears were interested in talking about that. But they're not doing that. They're going at it with Ritter and Heineke.
Not only did they not do that, they made it clear instantly, as soon as Lamar Jackson got franchise tag, that they were not going to go down that road. They were all in on Desmond Ritter, who has now been benched for the 2nd time this year. And by the way, for good reason. And so I think if you tie yourself to that and it doesn't work, you are in trouble.
Listen, you cannot draft the players they have drafted as high as they have and have an offense this bad. They drafted Kyle Pitts 4th. They drafted Jake London in the top 5.
If you don't use them, you can.
They drafted Bijan Robinson. Well, that's my point. Well, what are they doing? They scored 7 points against Carolina. I don't care how much rain there was. No. If you needed Noah's Ark to get you out of that stadium, you should score more than 7 points in that game against that team.
Absolutely.
How do they justify not making a significant change there?
Again, I will tell you from a coaching perspective, he's just trying to find any spark because they just lost to the Panthers, and you are in a very, very hot seat.
Yeah. All right. We'll get to Mike Tomlin a little later because we're going to run out of time here. We talked about that one a little bit earlier today, and that's one that I think requires a little nuance.
For sure.
You don't just fire Mike Tomlin, but maybe there could come to a place where there is a mutual decision that it's time for a change. My green list today is the top 5 challengers to the San Francisco 49ers this year. I consider this entire postseason the San Francisco Invitational. These are the 5 teams I could see having the best chance of beating them, even if they might not get into the playoffs. But I could see the Dolphins at number 5 outscoring them. Do I expect it? No, I don't expect anybody to beat San Francisco. But one way you might have a chance is if Tua just goes nuts. Tyreek and Jalen Waddle and those running backs who run like an Olympic track team go absolutely crazy and they beat him 51-48. Likely? No, but I could see it happening. I'll put the Chiefs in there, if only because they have Patrick Mahomes. And if you have Patrick Mahomes, I guess you have a chance. I don't believe it. I don't think the Chiefs are getting back to the Super Bowl this year. I think their weaknesses are too glaring. But I cannot overlook the possibility that the best quarterback of all time has the best game of all time and beats the best team. I'm going to put the Lions at number 3 because I'm looking for a team that could be physical enough to match the physicality on the line of scrimmage with the 49ers. On both sides of the line, particularly the offensive line, I think the Lions are that kind of tough. I could see Goff having a huge day. I give them a remote puncher's chance. The Ravens, I'll put at number 2. They are clearly the best team in the AFC. I think right now they look like the second best team in the NFL. Their defense is tough. Lamar Jackson is having one of his best seasons, if not his best. And of course, he is spectacular. So I would give them the puncher's chance. And then at number 1, and I get that they may not even make the playoffs, but I believe they will, and easily. I give the Bills that shot. The Bills have been way better than their record all year long. Their defense is starting to play much better, adjusting to the injuries. Their offensive line has played better all year than people realize. They run the ball better than people realize. And Josh Allen is the second best player in the National Football League. I give him a chance of doing anything. So there they are, the teams I could see beating San Francisco in the playoffs because the 85 Bears weren't on the list of teams I was allowed to choose. The Dolphins, the Chiefs, the Lions, the Ravens, and the Bills. Reaction?
I mean, it's the Ravens and only the Ravens. It's because the way that the 49ers attack people, they attack their linebackers and they attack their safeties. Nobody else in the league has a better group of linebackers. And then you put Kyle Hamilton in there, who's big enough and physical enough to stop the run, athletic enough to play. So while most of these up here, you're imagining a shootout that these offenses can score with them. The Ravens fall into that category also, but there is only one team up here that I think has a reasonable chance to go up against a fully healthy 49ers team, and we get this present on Christmas Day. We get to see a Super Bowl preview in that matchup.
Yeah, I would actually put Miami at 3, and I'd put the Lions at 5. I would keep KC in there. I'm with Fox though. The Ravens definitely give themselves a better chance. I think KC's defense is better than people think.
Yeah,
that can keep you in a game. Receivers got to make plays, man, and you know that's going to be.
Fink is freaking out that I didn't put the Cowboys or Eagles on the list. Do they belong on it?
Did you see them play the 2 times they played?
That's my point.
180-30.
Yeah, it was 84-19.
Yeah, we've already seen that.
Stick that in your pipe, Fink. Those are games that we've seen. Neither the Eagles, if the Eagles or the Cowboys wind up in San Francisco, I don't care where that game is played. If they wind up playing that game on Mars, the season is over for either of those teams. Their only chance is if the Lions or someone knock out San Francisco inexplicably.
No, I think it's a bold call to put the team that currently occupies the number 9 seed in the other conference at the top of this list. It would take an awful lot for this game to even happen.
I understand
between
that.
the Bills and the 49ers.
And I made that point.
Yeah.
But if it happens, I give Josh Allen a chance to win it. And I will say this, too.
Yeah.
They got through the tough part of their schedule. They beat Kansas City and Dallas. Now they just have to beat the Chargers and the Patriots. If they do, then I believe that last game against Miami will be for the division. The Dolphins have 2 tough games.
Wow.
You think the Dolphins are going to sweep Dallas and Baltimore?
No, I do not.
Me neither. And that's the point. I think when push comes to shove, Buffalo wins the AFC East.
We're also talking about coaching matchups. That's a lot of the credit that we give to the 49ers because they have a great deal of coaching talent.
Yes.
And there's not a lot on here, but again, it brings you back to the Ravens. Teams that have multiple, can attack you different ways and are very good coordinators.
It says almost everything that 4 of these 5 teams are in the AFC.
Of course.
Like, we don't think there's anybody in the NFC.
And let's not forget, where did Mike McDaniel come from?
He came from San Francisco.
If there's anybody who knows that offense, that defense, that dude was in the building for a long time, understands the concepts, what they're trying to get accomplished. He can pass a lot of information. That is a major play for that Dolphins.
I can already hear all the people challenging me on social media saying, hey, a week ago you would have put the Cowboys on this list for sure. Did we take them off solely because of what we saw last weekend? And the answer is yes. And the reason is they got bludgeoned.
Physical.
And that's exactly what San Francisco will do to them.
That's
People
right.
are overstating the home road thing with Dallas. It's not about their inability to run their offense. It is about their defense getting pushed around. Buffalo did it. San Francisco did it. And if they meet the 49ers again, they will do it to them again.
Yeah, that's exactly it. It's not just about what happened last week.
Right.
It's about what happened last week combined with what happened the last time they played San Francisco.
Several times.
Several times. Yeah, exactly.
And I know you said it's not about home road splits, but they will have to play them on the road.
Anyway, if it's Chiefs and Niners in the Super Bowl, I'm still going to have a hard time picking against Mahomes.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
That's the point.
That's just the way it is.
You can't give up on the great quarterback